Welcome to Tech Bytes and News, your daily roundup of articles featured in Hacker News. Today we're diving deep into a fascinating article. Every system is a log. Avoiding coordination in distributed applications. It's all about simplifying the complexities of building resilient distributed applications. A real headache for developers, right?
Absolutely. Building distributed systems is notoriously difficult. You're constantly battling potential failures, concurrency issues, and the sheer complexity of coordinating multiple services. The article highlights this perfectly, doesn't it? It's a real challenge.
Exactly. The article starts by pointing out that we spend way too much time dealing with failover, retries, race conditions, and all sorts of other nightmares, instead of focusing on the core business logic, queues, key value stores, locking services. It's a never-ending list of components that need to work together seamlessly. And often, they don't.
Yeah, and the image illustrating the problems in distributed applications really drives that point home. It's a visual representation of the chaos, isn't it? The core idea presented is revolutionary, treating every system as a log. That's a bold statement.
It is. But the article makes a compelling case. Message queues, databases, even locking services, they all fundamentally operate on logs. Databases, for instance, use write-ahead logs. The article even quotes Pat Helland's famous saying, "The log is the database. Everything else is cache." Brilliant.
I see. So the key is to unify all these disparate logs into a single, unified log. But how does that solve the problems of concurrency and failures? I'm curious to know.
That's where the real magic happens. The article uses a process payment handler as an example. Initially, it shows a naive implementation prone to concurrency issues and failures. Then, it presents a more sophisticated version using locks. But even that has flaws. The core problem is the lack of a single source of truth.
Multiple systems have their own views of the world, leading to inconsistencies. So, the solution is to use a single upstream log, right? I'm following you so far.
Precisely. Every action, every state change gets written to this upstream log. Retries become trivial because the log contains the entire history of the operation. If a step has already been completed, the retry simply skips it. Ingenious!
But what about locking? How does a single log handle distributed locking? Doesn't that still require coordination?
That's a great question. The article cleverly addresses this. Lock acquisition and release are also logged. The lock service simply reads the log to determine lock ownership. This eliminates the need for complex distributed locking mechanisms and their associated problems. It's elegant.
So by unifying everything into a single log, you eliminate the need for coordination between different systems. That's a significant simplification. But isn't this a bit of a radical departure from established practices? Doesn't it violate separation of concerns?
You're right to raise that concern. The article acknowledges that using a single log for every operation isn't practical. It advocates for using this approach strategically, for state that's strictly scoped to a handler or service. It's not about replacing databases entirely, but about creating a robust core for critical operations. It's a targeted approach, not a wholesale replacement.
I see. The article mentions Restate, an open-source project that implements this single log approach. It seems like a practical implementation of this concept. Interesting.
Absolutely. Restate provides an SDK that simplifies the process of interacting with the log, handling retries, and ensuring exactly once semantics. It even supports stateful handlers and virtual objects, further enhancing the robustness of the system. It's a game changer.
This is a really interesting approach. It seems like a powerful way to simplify the development of resilient distributed applications. The article also mentions future work on distributed restate, which will be exciting to follow. I'm looking forward to that.
Indeed. The article concludes by discussing the design of the underlying log itself, hinting at some unique features. It's clear that this is a significant advancement in distributed systems design. Thanks for joining us on Tech Bytes and News. We hope you found this discussion insightful. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.